Maskins, Deputy Commissioner, Department for Local Government.
I'm Vernon Brown, Department of Local Government.
Gary Larimore, Kentucky Rural Water Association.
Gary Ball, not citizen. You start.
Tanya Young, Mountain Wolf.
Josh Muncie, District 1 Magistrate, Martin County.
Stephanie Bell, the Public Service Commission.
Yeah, that's Rosalind and Leslie on the ends, and Leah's General Counsel for the Senate Democrat Caucus.
I'm Don York with the Mountain Wolf.
I'm Judge Callahan from Martin County. Joe Hammond, Martin County Water.
Pete Goodman, Division of Water.
Victor Sloan, Martin County Magistrate.
And I'm Bill Harvey, Mountain County.
You know, I want to get everybody together just to see if, I mean, you got the people here, Judge, that can possibly try to help steer some money toward this issue. Let me turn that television down because it's got the conference meeting on it. Turn it down there, guys. And I know that the information that Pete put together for us, Pete, could you just summarize some of the issues that the Division of Water has?
Sure. Well, you know, we recognize Martin County's a fairly large water system in terms of spread out all over a lot of places in the mountainous region with a lot of different pressure zones, lots of tanks and distribution systems, lines that probably aren't as deep as you'd love to have them. And they have some issues with water loss, significant issues with water loss. Over 50% is the estimate. Joe, you probably have a better handle on that now than I do. Disinfection byproducts, compliance issues, which is not unusual for a system that's got a fairly extensive distribution system. That's not unusual, but it's an issue. We've got some other treatment issues that we're concerned about. And so we have, we're negotiating an order. I think you're negotiating that order with the Department of Division Enforcement, Jim. So there are some significant issues that need to be addressed, and you know, the economics of water loss is only one of the issues. There's actually public health concerns with water loss. Joe, talk about transient pressure and how that can pull in contaminants into the system. And so that's a big issue for us, and to try to resolve it. And we understand that you don't reduce that water loss 50% down to more reasonable things easily, particularly when you have a complicated distribution system with lots of different pressure zones. You're trying to valve off areas so you get enough pressure to identify the leaks, and then you have to fix the leaks. And when people turn their water back on, it can look less than desirable when it sits in the system for a while. But there are compliance issues that Martin County is going to have to address with the Division of Water and Division of Enforcement. Rural Water is working with them on contract with the Division of Water. We have a contract with them to provide technical assistance on those issues. And so we think we have the technical assistance available to provide. The question is, how much is it going to cost to get you where you need to go? And I think that's kind of why we're here. So.
And I'll ask Bill and Joe to put some numbers together, what they feel the needs. Now, when they were here last time, I've got them back through somewhere. There was a ballpark number of $6.7 million in improvements to the water plant. Is that right, Bill?
That is correct, 6.5.
And could you just explain, and I'll go back here and see if I can dig that out of my briefcase, right, because you've got another copy of it right here. Could you just walk us through that, what the needs are? 6.65 million at the water plant?
Yeah, you know, I think you've had some copies that have the second sheet on it.
Yeah, that's, I didn't make enough copies. I didn't think that was a crowd.
We've asked Kentucky Engineering Group.
I can get some copies of this. How many do we need?
There's one right there.
I've copied it.
Yeah. So make about 5 copies.
Okay.
Make it about.
You need a copy of what I'm saying.
That's what
You're the one that, you really
looking
need
for
a
papers.
copy.
Yeah, I gave for everyone over there.
The person with the check was needs to go. So as soon as they get back in here with that, we'll be happy to. And as you know, we're working on this budget. I don't know if it's possible to reach a compromise or not. Which would put some additional severance tax dollars into the mix if we can do that. this point, it's not looking good.
What happens if something happens?
And after July 1st, then it's only necessary government expenditures for public safety, elementary, secondary, and then federally mandated programs like Medicaid.
And how does that affect the county? Road secretary money?
It all stops. Now, well, you're talking about road money. The road plan that will be in place, and the existing formula of distribution probably would address that. But the road plan that's in place, the 6-year road plan that's currently in place will continue. So, you got your copy? Go ahead. Did you get your copy?
I have a copy of the $60.6 million budget.
Get a copy of this. Yeah, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we're all on the same page?
Yeah.
This is a cost estimate that the Kentucky Engineering Group put together for us rather quickly. Go down the line items. Our existing plan is very old, needs much renovation, but they've identified some electrical system improvements, mechanical renovations, structural renovations, which is majorly important. And but the process improvement and expansion, which is the 3.4, is the largest item. And that covers things like, correct me if I'm wrong here, Joe, some clarifier rebuilds. We have 3 clarifiers, 2 of which are operational, the third one is not operational. We need to bring that third one back online. And we need to make some improvements with the filter bed and so on and so forth on the other 2. That's probably the biggest portion of that 3.4, plus that also includes some distribution line improvements. And it's rather straightforward, you can look down through that, but that comes up to a total of $6.65 million.
Now, just so that you can clarify this,
Yeah.
when you gave me this before, there were some questions about when we talk about architectural renovations and operations, but can you explain that?
If you look at the sheet on the back, it's a rough diagram of what the new plant will look like. Currently, we have the building that's on the left plus the 3 clarifiers, one of which is not operational. And help me out here, Joe. This one on the bottom, that's the sludge.
The dewatering sludge,
Yeah,
so
which is not there now. And the building that's associated with the chemicals and so on and so forth that will be used. Does that explain what?
Yeah, I'm just, because there were some questions about, what we talking, this is architectural.
Yeah,
what we're talking about.
that's this page.
Okay.
So what about our water loss bills? What are we doing in there to address our water loss?
Water loss, Joe, do you have those
Right back
figures
down.
for the,
water loss at present, I think the last I had was something like 52, 4, something like that. But, it was somewhat higher than that, but we have replaced with the help of the cold severance tax money in the Wolf Creek area. I think it's about 5 miles of 6-inch line, and we also replaced the service lines up that area, probably 150 so customers.
In the early 2000s, is that, when was that done?
That's was done, huh?
A couple of years ago, was it done?
Yeah. And that's a
4 years.
but, we use cold severance tax money for that. And, it has helped greatly up that way.
Now, this water loss, I see a whole lot of water loss, and not run out in the ground, but, you know, through the field, shear bars. I see, you know, you bought those blocks, put on those things. How many you got?
We've had 70 of them.
And how many do we have now?
I have none.
See, we bought these blocks,
And
that
they
you know,
cut
you
the
see in
locks
the
off
city,
the
that,
hydrants.
you know, so they can't, you know, let the fire department know. So they knock these blocks off these things, and they fill their tank up for hydrant seeding, and so our system is so vast. We're about 90, I'd say we're probably a little bit north of 95% of our residents having water available to them, not necessarily that they take it. And we also, I worked with Excel Mining. We went over into Pike County. They paid for run a line over there to about 8 or 10 residents. We're hooked to 1, 2, 3 systems. Like we're hooked to Kermit, West Virginia. We're hooked to Mountain Water up 292. We're hooked with Prestonsburg. And we're not hooked up with Paintsville, but we do have a system AML paid for on the bridge up there that run along the line that they use Paintsville water at a hauling station. And AML put in the system is for each one of those houses up there. So, you know, our system is so vast and there's so much line out there that, you know, anytime we can replace a line, you know, it has to help because our system was built in the 60s. I mean, it started out small, 9 is, but now, if we ain't above 95% of available water, people might be highly surprised. Because it runs, like I say, everywhere, once you got it line. And then when we talk about water loss, we can't, and this is quickly going to come to a halt with the fire departments. We get a fire fee for the fire departments, and we can't get them to report. Joe's been working on a form, you know, if they go out and they put 10,000 gallons on a house, we have no way of knowing that, because they don't report that to us. But now, since we have this fee, we can kind of say, guys, here, Joe's working on a form now to give those folks, to say, when you all go out or when you're all in training, tell us how much water you're using, because we really need that. And then, you know, if we can get the decrease, part of the people just, well, you get about 70 of those blocks, and they knock them all off, because our system is, you know, we've got fire hydrants that they won't be a car go by every hour. And they just, they're really taking advantage of us.
Can I ask a question? I mean, our plant treats 2.4 million gallons. 2.4 million gallons per day. What's half of that? Per day?
No, that's not true. The 58% that's being quoted is non-revenue water. That's not all water that's spilled out on the ground. That's what Kelly was trying to do.
So what?
I would say the percentage that's runs out on the ground is probably less than 10 or 15%.
All right, so what is our, okay, Mr. Goodman, can you explain that? I mean, it's, if we treat 2 million gallons a day, we have 50% water loss. I'm just assuming that's, if a plant that treats 2 million a day, your water loss is at 50%. That's that's a million gallon water per day that you're losing.
You got about 3 to 4 million gallons of storage. That is included into the processing. Okay?
All right, so how many gallons a day would you say that you're losing? Just a guess. I mean, are people like fire hydrants, are they?
He likes it though.
It's
Are
hard.
we losing, or is it
There's different
what we
between-
can account for?
Okay, what I understand, I understand you have the backwash filters, water rate loss on that, you have fires, like you say, that you have 5 to 10,000 gallon of water. But to have a water rate loss that high, and to maybe attribute it to people working for fire hydrants and, having it all,
Let
that
me make one other little statement.
sound reasonable.
While he's sitting over there, is rural water has been visiting up there for a month or so, okay? And this Tim, that works for Rural Water, what? Yeah,
Blanton, yes.
Blanton,
Blanton.
he came up and he gave us some software to account for water loss. Water loss has not been accounted for in some time. Because the people that go out and fix leaks, we get a work order into the office, it may be, for the manpower we have, it may be 3-4 days before they get out to that leak. Okay, in the meantime, water is still flowing into the ground or wherever, okay? And that water is not accounted for. That's going to change. Bill is aware of that, bring it for the board.
Well, I know it's the worst in the state. I mean, that is, you know, according to the figures that I got from the PSC, I think the nearest one that was close to us was like something like Rattlesnake Ridge that had 35%.
You're taking the water
rate.
loss and non-revenue water lumped it together. And I understand that, you know, that makes it look good, but when you're talking about non-revenue water
Okay,
and water running out on the ground, it's two different things, guys.
Non-revenue water is what? Water that you fight fires with.
People that pull up the bar hydrant, people that have the cheater bar, people that took the meter out,
Okay, I can.
Let me.
flushing.
Tank overflows, there's a lot
Right.
of different issues, there's fire hydrant usage.
Has there been any
from the fire department,
calculations?
A lot of those things.
Is there any way to be able to calculate the non-revenue water loss?
That, yes, you know, Joe mentioned the software, basically it's a spreadsheet. Excel
Yes.
spreadsheet is water accountability. What hadn't been occurring is that hadn't been focused on like it should be as far as managing. So now what we're in the process of doing, I've got a guy down there today, tomorrow, and Thursday, and trying to focus on, and that's the hardest thing in water loss. A lot of people just want to go out and if they see it coming up off the ground, it's a leak, let's go fix it, but it's much, much larger than that. So we're in the process of doing a water audit. Basically, a water audit, you primarily look at the whole system as a whole, and then and we talk about non-revenue water versus water loss. So basically, it's a process of elimination. So we sit there and start out with, all right, how much water are you producing? How much are you selling? And that's going to be your basic, okay, and we have a deficit here. All right, now can we account for others? So then you go into your treatment plants, you go into any overflows that you may know. Then you start systematically even looking at your meters, your large meters, whether they're accurate or not. When's the last time that they were tested? And we found over the years that some of your larger meters, if they have not been tested regularly, that you know, they may be under-registered. So basically, these meters will under-register.
So you're talking about the master meters?
Long before they ever stop.
You're talking about the master meters?
It could be the master meters and the residential meters, so it's a holistic thing that we have to look at, so it's nothing that we can do overnight. So what we try to do early on is to do, for lack of a better word, get the low-hanging fruit. And low-hanging fruit is to look at the large meters, look at your flows. We try to divide the distribution system up into zones, so then we can kind of target each zone at a time.
So you know where your problem zones are.
Trying to find out where the problem areas are. And then, yeah, theft can be an issue. And that's, Martin County is not the only county that this occurs, where you put locks on them and they disappear. But part of that issue is enforcement. Now, having the community judge, the leaders of the community there to back up the water district and the managers, because, you know, you got to cut people off. So you can go and cut them off. Let's say you put a lock on the meter, you come back, you know, somebody went to the local hardware store and they bought a jumper, put in there. You know, it's against the law, theft of services. So sometimes you have to prosecute these people. So you have to have the will, unfortunately, sometimes to go in there and make an example of somebody, or at least prosecute for stealing water. What you hope you do is just cut it off. And then everybody gets the word that, okay, Martin County or whatever water district is out there starting to cut it off, and you know, it's something we need to be paying for.
Gary, what's the?
So that's all part of the process that we're starting with on Martin County. So it's not, unfortunately, it's not gonna be overnight. You know, it's gonna take us a while to go through and really find out where the areas are. And some of those areas, we may find out that valves aren't working. Part of our plan is to help them with the valving, exercising those valves and make sure they're operational so we can actually locate and isolate lines, if you will, isolate lines and locate the leaks that are out there. Then we need to fix them. And I will tell you, over the years, we can come in and find leaks. And as Pete alluded to, or Joe alluded to, it may take 2 or 3 days before they fix the leak. Well, why is that? Well, it's either a personnel issue, they don't have the personnel, don't have the equipment, can't get there in time, or it's just, it's not important to me. This is important. You're making sure you have accurate meters, making sure you account for your water. That should be number one priority.
We are mentioning at your office.
Gary, what's the normal
So with
proportion of theft? You know, this is not unique to Martin County, the water loss, another county water. What is the normal proportion of theft? It usually isn't that significant.
no, but you know, human nature such. If you do something and you get away with it, so, man, I get it out there talking to neighbors, and all of a sudden it's a real problem. So it's those things, you know, when you have people that don't pay your bills, the best way to keep your delinquency down is turn those people off. And all of a sudden they know, I gotta pay my water bill or I'm gonna get cut off. And it's just basic policies that, you know, nobody wants to cut their neighbors off or their mother off, or whomever, but it's just basic policies that you have to do. It's not easy, but it's the right thing to do. It's how you run the business, it's how you run the utility. Because you're producing a product and you're trying to sell it. So we got a lot of issues that we're hoping that we can, I think we're going in the right direction. And it's just a matter of getting focused on it.
Gary, let me say this, because you know there's a lot of stuff going on. I know everybody's time is valuable. Judge, appreciate you. The magistrate's coming up today. If you all can tell us just that we've got this list, and Joe, Bill, whichever one wants to address this, tell me what's your most pressing need besides the plan? Is that what's your priority list?
Our priority, where we started from last week, was addressing the disinfectant byproduct. And that's the one that gets us the biggest bang for the buck, too. We can do that cheaper than anything else. Joe actually ran some tests yesterday on a system that we can install on our third well, which will reduce our THM down by 40%. That's significant.
How much is that? What do you need for that?
That cost is going to be less than $10,000. That particular cost.
It's an area, it's like a blower or a area.
Yeah. The other thing that will majorly help is covering the clarifiers. We got quotes out now. We haven't got those back, but I expect that to be in the what, 5 to 7.
I talked to the old water treatment plant in Tennessee, and they've got 2 rectangular clarifiers down there. And I think he said they're like 400,000 or 500,000 gallons of water, and it cost them $400,000. But
To cover the clarifier.
But that was, he said it's a little,
That was basically building a building around the clarifier, basically.
no, this was the cover. It was on this part.
Just a shade. Covers back up.
And which, you know, it takes care of your algae, leaves that blow into the clarifier.
What about
And
the
another
mesh?
thing.
Okay, what about the mesh, the curtain mesh that y'all put on the discharge line coming out of the Back River into the?
On the,
Well, it's actually on the input to the plant out of the reservoir.
yeah, Coming out.
Curtain,
Uh,
the curtain.
When the raw water comes into the reservoir, that's where the curtain is.
We're looking at 10,000 for that.
What about the floating intake?
Floating intake has been identified as $560,000. So you add all this up, you're probably, I didn't realize that probably that.
Is it all?
Well,
is
it's-
there a list?
It's all in this first page.
On that price bill, I've got to take pictures of the clarifier, send it to Brunswick, that's the company that does it.
So what about creating these zones that Gary's talking about here? What would we need for that? Master meters, master valves? so we can-
Yeah, and I wanted to elaborate on that a little bit. We got, what, 16 zones, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay. And it sounds real easy to shut off a zone and look where your leaks might be, but all these zones are interconnected. So you shut off one zone, you backfeed from another.
Right.
And that gets very complicated once that starts to happen. And that's where you need the manpower. You need 50 people out there all at the same time looking at their watch. We're gonna shut this valve off, we're gonna start recording these meters. It gets very, very complicated when you start backfeeding. Because you start draining back out of tanks, you do all kinds of.
Absolutely, and a lot of this work is at night,
Yeah.
when
Yes.
everybody's in there. So
Yeah, you wanna
it's
do it
just
when
not
you
easy.
lose water.
So that's why you need to do it systematically.
We
That's why
have-
you need to get a plan, get everybody on the same page. So
I don't know if Tim has
so that-
told you, Gary, but we have a leak detection equipment up there, and he says it's the latest. And it will do leak detection, it will do hydrants, valves, those type of things, and mapping, and map on it. I've just gone through a couple of months ago.
Let the sun.
This is it's from a company, 64 Second. They're out of Charles.
It's called a PLD, it's personal
PLD.
listening device. You can hook it up to an iPad, an iPhone, and those things. But yeah, it is one of the latest technologies that we use as well. And part of our process is to train the marketing people on that device as well. We have correlators as well. So we've got a number of pieces of equipment that we can have use and train people on. So it's just going to take a little time
Gary, wouldn't it
and
help
a lot of
us,
effort and a lot of.
wouldn't it help us to do kind of like a audit? Like send somebody up to the house, check the meter, make sure they ain't got a cheater bar, and then go to these houses that's not on the billing system and test their water? You know, if we could get them
You can just like check for chlorine or something, see whether they don't see
Yeah,
water or
see
something.
what's going on.
Yeah, that's kind of an ongoing thing that should be done anyway.
Well,
They
actually,
need to look at those meters every day, and they should know that if they notice that that meter's not in there, that there's a jumper, then those are things that
So
mark
when
down
they,
and come back.
Joe, Bill, help me, when they have a cheater bar, do they have a meter?
no.
No, that's what they're cheating.
Also, they're bypassing them.
Great. So
They pull the meter and then they put a pipe in the place of it.
Yeah.
Straight in.
And to get into a resident to check for chlorine, which is coming out of their tap, almost requires a warrant.
You can't just go in and check it.
What about the type of meters we have? Is there newer meters that we could put in place that would help eliminate that, or tamper-free meters? I've seen meters where you can take the dial and twist it and the actual meter comes off. You still have your meter there, but the register comes off.
Yeah, well, just a radio read meter would help a lot.
That's, yeah,
You can monitor that on a daily basis.
How many radio reads do we have now?
Joe, you'd have to.
We probably got, there's 100 that needs to be in place, and I think we started with a test project, like 500, so we'll have about 600 out of 3,500. But,
And those were how much I can
Is
move
that making a difference, Joe, in those as far as the tampering of the meters that prevent that from happening?
it helps. Victor. But I like
It
it.
doesn't prevent
We
it
get-
happening, but it alerts us to the fact that it has been cheated.
If
So we need more of that type of meter then. Yeah, one of the issues
Yeah,
as
and
well.
that was one of the projects that.
So
was
how much
addressed.
was the, I remember that project was taken, both there. How much will that be?
240, 250 radio reading, something like that. That was with the MXU, the meter and all that.
2,900 of it.
How much?
To answer your question, Senator, this was our priority. You got it right there.
Well, let me ask you this front page where it says Martin County Water District, it says Martin County's made improvements to the water treatment plant as follows. And then it gives a list, is that stuff that's been done or stuff that needs to be done?
Stuff that needs to be done.
Okay, because where it says has made, or it sort of threw me off there, so. This is, so you go down the list. You need-
Now, there's some of it, excuse me,
Go ahead, Bill. I mean,
the first part with the filter 5,
Yeah.
that's been completed.
Okay, that's done, all right.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I thought you were looking at this week.
No, I was looking at that front page.
Very front page.
Very front.
And the quote for the repair of filter number 6 is going to run about $60,000.
So filter 5 has been done. That's,
That's number 3. Huh?
filter 5 has been done. Can we mark it off the
You can
list?
mark that off.
Okay.
It's been done and paid for.
Anything else that we can mark off this front page?
Purchase leak detection equipment, that's already done.
$4,000 to $4,000.
Yes. Investigating the aeration, we haven't done that yet, but I had, like Bill was talking about, we did the testing yesterday, and it did reduce the THMs out of the plant. So that is probably.
By 40%. That's
Yeah.
very significant.
That would be a really good project to go even with the tanks.
I was just,
Yeah.
that's so scary. I was thinking, I wonder how much it costs to do the tanks like that.
Well, we have electricity to most of the tanks already. So what we'd have to do is get, I guess, electric pump or air pump.
You mentioned electricity too. Is one
We're
of
having
the
that quoted
issues,
right now.
is the master switch for our generator, is that one of the things too?
It's a desirable thing. Do we need to have it? This is for the backup
As far as the
generator.
cost, what is it, like 15,
15,000.
16,000?
But is the generator operational?
The generator is operational and it's ready to go online if we have a power failure, but we have to hook it up manually right now. It's not just an automatic switch over as soon as the power drops.
And that's basically what we need though. Power goes off, generator kicks on automatically.
Right.
I noticed on the list that there was no estimate, any kind of line replacement. Do we have an idea about how much needs to be done to fix the more problematic lines where you
Yes,
maybe have?
if you look at the last sheet, I think it's project ending in 006. That's been identified as 3.5 million for major line replacements in the trouble areas.
Because one of the reasons that we asked commissioners to come over is, there's 4 projects that were 5 maybe, there's 5 on this list. For Martin County Water District that went through KIA and they were approved Kentucky Infrastructure Authority. Can you give us a rundown on those and tell us what the situation and status?
Well, we have 5, actually we have 4 active project profiles that is inactive. All projects that are considered every year for funding, and it's my understanding that offers have been made a couple of times on a couple of different of these projects. And the district made the decision that they couldn't accept the funds because it could have possibly resulted in a rate increase. So from listening to you today, it sounds like what we may need to do is go back in and reevaluate your priorities and develop new project profiles that more closely match what you need to do to make improvements to your system. Taking the information from Mr. Laramore's team, guidance with your engineers, go back in and phase out your projects, starting with the most important project that's going to get you the most return on your investment, hopefully so that when you actually do the work, it will create some savings for you so that you are not going to have to go forward with more rate increases without benefit. So what would be ideal is if you could go in and rework these project profiles and give us an avenue by which that we could fund some projects for you and break them into reasonable pieces. To ask us for $6.6 million, considering our current budget, considering the funds that we have available to give to you, we could do a loan for $6.6 million to protect the infrastructure for you almost immediately. That is probably not something that you would want or would even like very much, because it would be difficult because those loan dollars have to be justified with rates that would generate income to repay those dollars. But what we could do is if we were to break that down into reasonable chunks, then we could go in and maybe put a little bit of loan dollar that may or may not generate a rate increase considering what you're going to do and have some savings by your work. And maybe we could put some ARC dollars in there, maybe some community development block grant dollars, and begin to address your issues in a systematic way, and eventually work back from where we are today to getting your system into compliance and getting it back into where it would cash flow a little better.
Just so that people that might be reading about this, the ARC money and the CDBG money would not have to be paid back.
It would not, that is correct. It
We
is-
have
And that's our biggest problem right now, is payback. 'Cause
Sure,
As
honestly,
I explained in
absolutely.
our last meeting, this is kind of a catch-22, because we've got to raise our rates in order to get the money to fix our leaks, but we can't get the money to fix our leaks because our leaks are so high.
And when you install your radio read meters, you're all of a sudden going to have an increased accuracy in the amount of water that's being used versus what's being metered today. And that in and of itself is going to result in an increase in your billing because those new meters are going to be more accurate. You're going to be measuring water that actually goes through the meters in a better way, and that's actually going to increase the customer's bill. So in effect, that in itself does a rate increase, even though that's not your original intent.
But again, that's after the fact. We can't put a
Right.
value on that until we do it.
What are your rates at right now?
$6.40. It's $6.40 per
$1,000.
thousand. That's, well, I mean, that's,
We have, Sandy, we have a CDBG right now that will be closing shortly. The project is coming to an end. The Warfield area sewer project. We have $1 million CDBG in there. They understand it, we get it closed before we license it.
That is correct.
And it'll be closing really soon.
And that would open you up to apply for the next CDBG cycle. ARC dollars are available, we have them every year. ARC dollars are the last dollars that we put into a project. So if you do a new CDBG application, ARC would be the last funding that we would put into the package, and that makes a really good opportunity for you to have an ARC CDBG funded project. Even if you put a little bit of KIA loan in that project, ratio of grant loan funds makes it a whole lot easier for you to cash flow.
You know, our first priority, and I don't know quite how we're gonna swing this, but I think it's in the works, is get water and sewer run to our new school site. And that's gonna be $1.3 million, between $1.3 million and $1.4 million. But now I think we're working through Corps of Engineers and some 531 money through Howard Hartford's office. 531 is sewer. He said actually we won't blow that till the fall. We got an application in, it's $500,000. And then we got another application in water. We got turned down on ARC last year. And we're gonna have, you know, for right now, you know, as far as getting a school project going, we have to have a good way to get water and sewer up there. Department of Education will make it do it.
Judge, is this the one that ARC that we have in now for this 300,000 gallon storage tank, booster pump and so on? Is that the project for the school
Is
or
that
what's
for the
it?
school?
No, I think it's been, it could be, but the tank now is reduced to 150,000.
Right. Okay, I mean, the only ARC that, well, I've got two ARCs, but the ARC for water here is the construction of 300,000 gallon storage tank at Booster Pump.
Yeah, that's been it, because it was 300, it's just been
So that-
upgraded.
So that is for the school.
Yeah,
And the project profile shows 150,000 gallon storage tank.
150 now.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
recently been updated.
Profile that.
Is that a project that's got to move quick? What's the schedule on the
Well, it's
school?
got to move pretty quick.
Yeah, it's got one.
Yeah, we got to get that done.
School under construction or ready to go to construction?
No, we're hoping. See what we got down there is we got this beautiful piece of property on the new 4-lane that has no infrastructure to it. Now, what the school board has a problem with is the Department of Education won't let them participate in calling it, you know, they won't let them participate in water sewer. They told me in the conference call that they could we could charge them up to $600,000 for a sewer tap fee. And we put that toward the line. Now, with this money is going to be, part of this is going to be 75-25. But where they're at, the school board is at, is Department of Education won't let them work on a piece of property that they've got. And then the county can put the water and sewer up there for them. But we might have to call it land acquisition until we get the grant, then we reimburse the school board back. See, we have the liberty to wait. They don't. They need to go to construction really quick on the side.
We have an ARC application for $500,000 that's pending. And as I just mentioned, ARC money is always the last in the project. The total project that we have in the project profile information is updated on the 7th of March is for $962,945. So if we could locate $462,945, that would help us considerably toward awarding the ARC funds.
The school board has $600,000 within their budget, and we was hoping to access that money for such things as you're talking about.
If we could get evidence that they would do that, that would really help us toward funding.
Is that correct, Gary? 600,000 for a tap fee?
That's our tax fee. You know, for lack of a better term, I'm on the school board, so that's out of the 1.3 million dollars cost that if we get that on the line, and then we would pay that as a tax fee.
We're hoping that it won't be near that.
What about AML money?
Yeah,
I talked to Mark Mead, I talked to Bob Scott too, I talked to Mark Mead on Thursday. They do have $30 million available for these types of projects. I think they're still trying to come through with the regulations of how it's going to be handed out. So would that be an option for funding? Because my understanding is because our water loss is greater than 15%, we would not qualify for a KIA loan. Is that correct? Is that incorrect? Or
I would think that could be discussed.
okay. So last meeting, the gentleman from the PSC said that because of our water loss, we would not qualify for the loan. Correct?
I don't think that's.
I haven't.
We cannot raise our rates. If we can't raise our rates, we can't get a loan because we can't pay back the loan.
Right.
That's the catch-22 that I keep going back to.
Unless they make
Because
some
we can't raise our rates because of the because our water loss is greater than 15%.
Can I clarify that?
Yes.
Now, that's Public Service Commission. Basically, Public Service Commission, you can raise your rate. Public Service Commission just won't allow you to raise your rates any more than if your water loss is greater than 15%. So basically what they'll do is they'll just make an adjustment back to 15%. So you can actually raise your rates a little bit as if you had a 15% water loss.
And you extend the life of the loan over a longer period of time,
Well, I don't know
basically.
about extending the life loan, but basically they'll show you that this amount, they'll basically make the adjustments off of what your cost of the difference between 15% and whatever your actual water loss is. So you can go in and get a rate increase. They just won't allow anything greater than 15%.
Yeah, the PSC wants you to keep your water rate loss below 50%.
Right,
I mean,
that's the rule of
They
thumb.
even have a statewide average of the water loss that all the districts are, but the rest it might be a little bit less.
Gary, is there a provision for an environmental surcharge or with TFC on the water side, and Northern is on the wastewater side. But Stephanie's not here, and
Want to allow them to do.
to address
environmental
certain
surcharge.
specific environmental issues.
Mr. Greenwood has addressed that the last meeting on surcharge, and they have that in hand, but they're not acting.
Oh, so you have a request for a surcharge in?
It came in with the countywide audit that was made for the water district, and that was one of the,
But they're,
Let me ask this, going back to this Route 645 development area water system extension. That's not the school though, right? That's board. That's off. What is that project off 645? If I can read that.
Where's that at?
It's on that KIA, it's the middle project. It's the one here.
008?
The project for the school's not on here.
middle one.
But my question is, I don't know what that area, that Kentucky 645 Development Area Water System Extension. I mean, Joe, Bill, do we need to be looking at extensions until we get the plant fixed, until we get
That
some of
would
the?
have to be the school.
it is,
To be the school,
and
there's nothing else on
And
645
when
to
Rick-
extend to.
when Libby and I
Well, that's
talked
what I'm
about
saying.
this, that was supposed to be.
I would say that
Because-
it is 645, that
would be,
yeah,
it would be going over, yeah.
645, yeah, that would be the road. I mean, we think 645, and
It'll be 645 all the way through.
So you want this project or you don't want it?
That's for the school.
So you do want it.
You
Provide.
want it.
I do. I'm a board member.
Well, I know he wants it, but,
Basically, what we're saying is that school can't move forward unless we have the infrastructure stuff up there.
how to do it.
But with the AML money being option that we could probably do.
Sure. I mean, obviously we can contact them, we don't have to represent it.
I don't
Really.
see it that maybe the grant.
My hope is that
Less sewer, water,
Those guys on a regular basis.
sewer is different animals.
I'll get the Libby.
I'm pretty sure that's the water, Sandy. I'm pretty sure that's the water portion.
At the school,
Yeah, not the sewer. The sewer's around, you know, it's around 400,000 or 500,000, so that would cut it that small.
Yeah.
4.2 or whatever it is.
our desire, Senator, was to do what Sandy was saying, basically forget that back page from all the projects, reinitiate projects to this priority.
So the first, oh, this one, I got it. Thank you.
Well, the whole purpose I wanted to set this meeting was so we can get some dialogue started.
Right.
You've got everybody here except AML. And we can make, get AML involved, see if there's any source of funding there.
Well, there's some new funding supposed to come into AML. How that's gonna be distributed and what qualifies, yet it's not really clear. But it's some significant funding that will come in.
They already have the $30 million. Bob Scott said that, water was the top priority of AML and it would continue to be.
You gotta keep in mind too, on those kind of deals, they're gonna want the project to be shovel ready. So we need to be ready to rock and roll.
best advice we could leave you with today is go in and look at your project profiles, clean them up, and prioritize them on the snow priorities. And make sure what's on the system is correct, and give us something to work with.
Who does the project profiles?
The ad usually
Okay, okay. May be good to have some water and KIA folks working with the ad on cleaning up those project profiles so everybody understands what
What they
everybody's looking at, you know.
What the
Maybe
cost
Sandy,
will
you
be.
Right, and if there's
Together.
ancillary funding or something like AFR.
can get them calls and stuff, be in your office or you can
Do
do
that.
and we'll get them cleaned up.
And make sure they're exactly what you want and how you want them. And then we can systematically begin trying to develop a process to fund it.
We can do that rather quickly.
Get it to me.
I still want to go back to the priorities. I know water loss is the major concern. There's no getting around that. but the average citizen in Martin County is more concerned about the disinfectant byproducts than they are the water release. So I think we need to attack that first, that gets us the biggest bang for the buck, and then go into the distribution lines, and then go into the treatment plants. I think that's the three priorities that we really, the four priorities that we really want to discuss in that order.
I think it's important when you negotiate an agreed order with enforcement that, and I think it would be good to meet on the project profiles, and Sandy suggested kind of breaking them out into smaller projects that you can incrementally deal with. Having that in hand when you go back to enforcement to talk about what's an agreed order, that's what should be in your agreed order. This is our plan and path forward. That's why you push your penalty off to stipulated penalties and say, stipulate the penalties so that if you don't do what you say you're gonna do in your plan, and they nick you for some dough. Otherwise, they'll work with you on the front end to make sure that they want the same thing that you want, that I want, and everybody else wants, is that to get the water loss down, to get the disinfection byproducts under control. So that's what I think that serves you on the enforcement end too. I can't speak to the PSC concerns.
And I can't, reiterate any stronger.
What kind of question? All these are long-term plans to address things that we disinfect my products, water rate loss, and all that stuff. I'm, as a customer and truth reporter, I get Lucas complaint. I got an email that Sunday evening, the lady that lives up on the riverfront for over a year. She has not had water pressure. And I turned the tank off. Her son works in the mines, home after midnight, can't even shower. Just to lay in the floor, get up and shower in the morning. And I know I went through this same thing with the tank being cut off, not this past winter, but the winter before. When between midnight and 7 a.m., the tank is shut down, you have water. And you get up at night and turn on the beer. This lady still has that problem. She's complaining.
You say it's up 292, Gary?
It's up 292.
292.
I know it's served by Kermit.
292, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Is supported by the tank
On
at Evans
Evans
Hill.
Hill.
And it is not turned off. That
Well-
tank is not turned off. Rainbow Juice. Make sure that that tank has water in it every day. And I can show you the overtime pay that we pay him to do that with.
Well, here's the thing about it. She said that it is.
Is it our fault?
And she is a neighbor, and I blacked out their names because, I've done this before. I blacked out their names on a complaint. Both of them have said they have called over to the water company repeatedly, and nothing's been done about it. The water goes off at night. I experienced the same thing last year. Remember, I'm hooked to Kermit water now. I don't have that problem. Victor, you are too. That's the reason you don't have
Victor
that
is
problem.
not on Kermit water.
Okay, well, I am, correct?
Well, see, that's another mistake, Gary.
What's that?
You put him in the paper that he's on Kermit water. He's not. And let's don't get into
He's in Lovely.
because it's-
Okay, well,
yeah, let's
okay,
just try to figure
well,
it out.
I have water, but I have people who complain. They don't have water of a night time. Of a night time, it goes on.
Okay,
And it comes on in the
Gary
morning.
just stated over here that anytime you do work is usually during the nighttime hours.
Okay, but if you do that,
You don't disrupt as many customers.
if you do that, though, you still have to issue a boil water contract. And it shouldn't be something that is ongoing.
If the system's under pressure, when you do the repairs under pressure, you don't necessarily have to do
You don't
VW.
have to do it.
But but if you lose pressure, if the water's completely off, you've got to issue a boil water advisory.
Well, it's under pressure where they're doing the repair, not throughout the system.
And I don't know what this particular issue is. They may live on a higher elevation,
Oh,
or they
no.
may live somewhere that's
Right.
into the line that there might be a leak.
Have you done your call?
So each situation.
I haven't gotten any calls.
Well,
And girls told me you called yesterday
yeah, at
about
Tomahawk,
Tomahawk.
yeah, and I called you.
They had not been notified.
Huh?
The girls had not been notified of any
Of a water loss.
complaints.
No, they had, because they complained to me. Here's the thing about it. They complained to the paper because we call over there and it don't really good.
That's not so.
Huh? Well,
That's either here or there, guys. We're
Exactly.
here to try to move
Yeah,
forward.
yeah, I understand.
These issues, well, it may take some time, some of this stuff, if we can get the documents, get these priorities reworked, the judge is gonna get with the plan district, he'll get that done. And let's get them back here and see if we can't do something to expedite some of this, in the miraculous event that we get a budget, we'll know how much cold service tax we're gonna have, maybe we can use some of that money to address some of these initial things.
Okay, I do need to get this because I know the wolf's here. Our tanks are never shut off at night, correct?
I didn't say. But Evans Hill,
So
It's
people
not
up
turned off.
292, people up 292 that don't have water now, that haven't had water according to what she said, for over a year. Their water's going all the time.
I do know this from the Evans Hill tank to Pike County line, where the meter is up there. We always had better pressure than mountain water to that point.
How many customers would you say were from Long Branch all the way up to 92?
75.
And you get one call. Why
No,
would
no,
you
no, no,
not
no.
get
Yeah, well,
100 calls saying we don't have water? I just don't understand the math.
okay, so these people,
I'm just
well,
saying,
okay, well, all right.
you've got
It's
100
good.
customers.
It's good that they hear that because these people
If
are in
they
your
have 100
district.
customers,
These people in your district.
that's fine. If we have 100 customers up there, you would think that you would get more than one call. I mean, I'm just saying, that's
These
common
person put in
sense.
the
to me.
names that says such and such call, such and such call, such and such call over there. That's what they should call over there.
Did you call and report it to Joe?
I tried to call Joe yesterday when they said the water was off Tomahawk and they said you all were at, somebody said you all were at the foot of the hill on Inez Hill working on it. On a leak under the road, is that correct?
State was over there working on culvert, I didn't know that. Who? State?
So if the customer calls you, give Joe a call, say, we've got a problem up here at this.
Well, we've done that before in the past.
Is there a toll-free there, all night, 24-hour number?
We have a 24-hour number, it goes to the plant, water plant after hours.
I've called that number before, it doesn't do it.
I'm not saying that there's not an issue, Gary. I'm
I-
saying it
I
could be
mean-
with that meter. It could be with that one resident, you know,
Here's-
that's,
Here's the thing about it, I mean, I've lived through it, so I know it. I mean, I know that last winter, every night, you shut the water tank off from Buck Creek Hill, going back in my direction.
That was for about 3 days, 4 days.
No, that was more than 3. There was no boil water advisory.
That was at least 4 days, I can tell you. At least
Yeah,
4.
yeah, there was a house burnt down, wasn't there? But
Mhm.
they did, the fire truck, pulled up, it didn't have it.
Sure did.
I know that it was far more than that because I filed it got so bad that I called the PSC and I filed a formal complaint. I said, look, I don't know what's going on. I'm without water the nighttime. On, off, on, off. I want water. Whatever you have to do, if you've got to come in here and redraw the district boundaries, have the water district purchase water from Permit up on the Pike County end, buy it from Mountain Water, you can go to Prestonsburg. I don't know why I don't have water. I'm assuming it's because of the water rate loss. Just assume that. But I don't know. I've got water now and I'm happy. You know,
This was the
I look-
major leak under the railroad track.
so Bill, about our notice for boil water advisory, if we know that we're going to turn it back off, maybe at 1 a.m. in the morning, is it not possible that we can do the boil water advisory at 8 p.m. that evening or even before that? Or do you have to wait until you actually turn it off before you can do the notice? So
Well,
it
you
can
have to
alleviate the
determine-
notification problem.
You have to wait till you're gonna turn it off, but you don't know the extent of what's gonna be shut down.
I mean, if we
So
know
you
we're
could
going to
be
turn the
alerting
tank off.
people that aren't shut off and not alerting people that will be shut off. And that goes back to that backfeeding problem that we talked about
I'm saying as far as
earlier.
getting ahead of this problem and notifying as far as poor water value is concerned. Isn't there some way or some system that we could use to notify the folks before we actually turn the water off so that they could be notified?
I'm sure there is, but I'll go back to what I said before. We might be notifying people that the water aren't going to be shut off, and we might be neglecting people that have been shut off because of other issues. When you shut a valve off, you don't, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, you don't know exactly at that point where it's all going to
No, because of the lines,
Right.
line break.
Because it's backfeeding from the other
So you
side.
could, I mean, you could issue a boil, countywide boil water, and then you know it would be valid.
That way.
But do you want
know,
to do that?
Well, I'm just saying for that particular area, that way it would alleviate the problem of having people not being notified, and being felt like that they should have been notified.
Well, can I ask you a question too? I mean, the supplying the prison, does that put an extra burden on the water utility?
No,
It does?
no.
And how much water do we provide for this? Well, how much have we done in, say, the last year?
We don't really provide water to the prison. We provide water to the Honey Branch tank.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, but just-
Prestonburg provides water to the prison.
Right.
Okay, but it's still supplied.
It goes to the tank. We have customers up there at the industrial park. We have customers that come down to Bella, back from the prison. But we want to identify the
Okay, have
prison
y'all
as
gone-
the industrial park.
Okay, have y'all gone any significant time and you've not supplied water?
Yes, sir. We sure have.
For how long?
We probably went 7, 8 months
Okay.
or longer.
Why is that?
Pump problems at Develop.
It had anything to do with not being able to supply? Not having the capacity
You know,
to supply?
that question that you're asking there, I could supply today and tomorrow I could not supply. There's some mechanical or operational problem. So to answer your question,
Okay, I just-
there could be.
Well, I'm just talking, talking about the water loss.
No, it's not there.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming down, judge, advocates, everybody, and because, I mean, if there's an issue, there's obviously some problems, because I've had a bunch of phone calls and emails on it, and, some of it is obviously, due to disinfectant byproducts. There's been some complaints along those lines, and complaints about pressure and other issues, and, the PSC, and I told Bill and Joe this when they came down, they advised me, because I asked them to come over just so we could have this conversation, Stephanie Bill had to leave, but they advised us, and I wanted everybody to know that they were getting ready to start a formal investigation. And, this is proactive. If there are issues they bring up in the course of their investigation, this is going to put the county out ahead of dealing with some of those issues. We've got the people here that are willing to help. I talked to Commissioner Askins about it. He's been more than helpful. I guess this is the third time we've met on this. We appreciate everything that you all have done. You've got a great staff working with you. What I know, she knows about how to get projects done, particularly waterfront.
Ray, I'll tell you, speaking of PSC, I met with them. I was judge 5-year term, and I come back and I was out. I took vacation for 4 years. I come back and the water system was scary, I'll tell you, it was Chandler. When we had an outfit running the water system, American Water, an outfit in Lakeshore. They did a contract somewhere in between them. But we had about the same water loss, and we was asking the PSC for help. And all PSC was interested in is when we was going to pay American Water what we owe. Now they say they get a few complaints that they want to do an investigation. We welcome investigation. But we come asking for that same thing 15 years ago, and they just don't have it.
Well, let me correct it. The newspaper came out with that investigation in the early 2000s. When we walked up there and did it. Actually, the PSC and the Division of Water did a joint investigation. PSC went back and issued what they called a rare emergency order. Things had deteriorated to the point where on top of the clear well, the main clear well, you had two pumps. You had one pump that had been down for years. They had cannibalized parts off of that old pump, and the other pump was down on its last leg, where if it failed, nobody was going to have water. Nobody. In a county-wide plan. So things had deteriorated to that point. And had the PSC not come in and did that investigation, it would have failed.
They did that, Ray, it's amazing when I come in, they did the contract, what he talked about it during that little term of time. They come and, the outfit that does Mountain Water, I believe, they sent in a proposal along with American Water. UMG, is it called? UMG wasn't even open. When they went and talked to the water board chairman, their proposal, Blaine still sell that member. Didn't even open it.
Well, I know when I became state senator in Martin County, there were problems that were underway, problems with the water district that were taking place back then.
Right.
Yeah. And we're into $3 million to fix it.
Well, I mean, this is not about trying to blame anybody, it's trying to find out if there's a problem. Bill and I have had numerous conversations, and I want to thank Bill and Joe because, and the people need to understand these guys, Bill's not getting paid, I don't know if Joe's on his $100 big salary. That ought to be in the legislature.
But dude, I appreciate all of y'all coming, Ray. And I appreciate you still taking it. I know you're a busy man. I know you're a busy girl. I know you're a busy man. Now Vernon, he just hard him. I don't know how busy he is.
But we just need to get this stuff to them quickly and to see what we can do. And, I don't know, it's not looking positive about passing the budget.
So what happened, Ray, to the call special session then?
They would have to do a special session if they couldn't reach you. It's bad for all of us.
That's bad.
Well, I do want to say that I do appreciate Mr. Harvey being here because in the past, with water board chairmans, we've had people that didn't know anything, and he seems to be very knowledgeable and
I appreciate your comment.
Yeah.
It's a team effort.
yeah.
And
I did talk about setting a meeting up. I'm not going to do it until probably mid to late May.
This is the public.
Yeah, the public meeting, and that way you all, and it's not going to be it doesn't need to be a blame session. It needs to be if there are problems. We need to have people from DLG, rural water, Division of Water, just to find out what the complaints that the people are hearing are, because there may be some complaints that you're not hearing.
right. It sounds like there is some complaints that we're not hearing about. But to reiterate, we know we have problems. We know what they are. We know how to fix them. We know what it takes. We got the technology. We got the ability. We don't have the funds.
Well, that's what we're here for.
That's the bottom line. And take out a loan, yeah, but then we gotta pay it back. We don't have any capital to pay it back.
You told me that you're losing about, what, $250,000 a year over there?
Yep.
So if we can find ways to come with some money, help cut down the line loss, that's gonna lower that. If you could get some more of these radio meters, if you might help generate some revenue that way. But get your priority list, get it worked up, let's get it, because there may be some ways that we can come up with CDBG, ARC.
If we can get our water loss down to 20%, we'll break even. That's our break even point. That's current expenses. And they increase daily. But the price of water doesn't.
Senator, and I've got a guy that's gonna be there the next 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, and that's his primary focus. He's gonna start with the water loss.
I'm here for whatever we can do, and I'll be in touch with her.
I appreciate
this moves forward.
Very development funds, it's a very small amount of money, but I hope very
It sounds about,
What do you probably don't get $5,000 for that.
24 about that.
reason I want to do that.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir, appreciate it.
So-